Okay, it's 9:30 and we will commence. Aloha mai kako. Good morning, everyone. This is the February 19th, 2025 Land Use Commission meeting. This is an in-person meeting and it's being held at the Maui Arts and Cultural Center, Haynes Meeting Room Number 1, Cameron Way, Kahului, Maui. 96732 is the zip code. This meeting is open to the public. Court reporting transcriptions are being done from a Zoom recording of this meeting. And let me just confirm the recording is in progress.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. So even though this is an in-person meeting, please be aware that all meeting participants are being recorded on the digital record of this Zoom meeting, which will be posted on YouTube and used for court reporting purposes. And your continued participation is your implied consent to be part of the public record of this event. If you do not wish to be part of the public record, you should exit the meeting now. I will also share with participants that we'll be taking breaks from time to time, not only 5 minutes every hour. We don't expect to continue much beyond midday today or even that far. We'll see how it goes. But as of this time, we're not planning a lunch break. My name is Dan Giovanni, and I have the pleasure to serve as the LUC chair. And we currently have 9 seated commissioners, and 7 of which are participating in today's meeting. Along with me today are Commissioner Michael Yamane from Kauai, Commissioner Kamakea Ohelo from Oahu, Commissioner Brian Lee, and Commissioner Hayashida, also from Oahu, Commissioner Miyasato, and Commissioner Carr Smith from the island of Hawaii. Excused from today's meeting are Commissioner Mel Kahele and Commissioner Bruce Uu. Also in attendance are LUC Executive Officer Daniel Orendanker, LUC Chief Planner Scott Derrickson, LUC Staff Planner Martina Segura, and LUC Chief Clerk Ariana Kwan. And joining us today for the first time is our LUC Deputy Attorney General John Dubio. He's joining us from Zoom. So thank you, John, for joining us today. Again, court reporting transcriptions are being done from a Zoom recording. Our next order of business is a status report of docket A07773A, Emmanuel Lutheran Church of Maui. This is an agenda item to consider the continuation of the 2023 status report for Emmanuel Lutheran Church of Maui in accordance with the Land Use Commission decision and order issued on February 6th, 2024. At this time, I'd like the parties to identify themselves for the record. So petitioner, would you please identify yourself and who you have with you?
My name is Josh Remfer. I'm the principal at Emmanuel Lutheran School, and with me is Sandy Boz, who is a parent at our school, but also a volunteer on our building committee and helping us go through some of the phases of our project.
Again, your last name, sir?
Remfer, R-E-M-P-F-E-R.
Yeah. And just to save time, I'm going to elect to swear you in up front right now, and then we won't have to do that. So do you swear that the testimony you're about to give today will be the truth?
Yes.
And
Yes.
thank you. And state the other gentleman, state your name for the record. And
Sandy Boz, B-A-Z, and yes, I swear.
Thank you very much. County, who is here representing the County of Maui today?
Aloha, good morning, Chair and Commissioners. First Deputy Corporation Counsel, Mimi Desjardins, and with me is the Planning Director, Kate Blystone. Good morning.
Thank you. Good to see you guys again. Happy 2025. And from the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development.
Good morning. Allison Cotto, Deputy Attorney General for the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. Also here with me are Mary Alice Evans, Director, and Aaron Sadagawa, Planner from OPSD. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, we'd like to address any potential disclosures and and or conflicts of interest. So in accordance with HRS 84-14, commissioners are not allowed to take any official action affecting a business in which they or a member of their family has a financial interest. They must therefore recuse themselves from the matter if there is any benefit, monetary or otherwise, to themselves or to members of their family. Also, in accordance with this legal ethical standards, commissioners should disclose any relationship, business, social, or otherwise, that they may have with the petitioner or its representatives or any other parties to this proceeding that may give rise to an allegation of impropriety. Commissioners, do any of you have any conflicts of interest or disclosures to make at this time? Hearing and seeing none, we will proceed. So let me, for everyone's benefit, briefly explain the procedure for this agenda item. Excuse me. First, I will recognize written public testimony that has been submitted on this matter. Next, I will call among members of the public who wish to provide oral testimony on this matter. Then I will call upon the LUC staff to present a summary of their report, their staff report, and any recommendations that they might want to put forth for the commission's consideration. Next, I will call on the petitioner to provide a status report. After the petitioner's presentation, I will ask the county and then the state OPSD, which is the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, to present their comments regarding the status report. The commissioners will have the opportunity to ask questions of the parties, including staff, at the conclusion of each of their presentations. I will then reopen the floor for a second round of public testimony, should any member of the public wish to testify at that time. Finally, the commission will enter into deliberations regarding the status report to decide if any action is necessary. Again, I will be taking short breaks, nominally 5 minutes every hour. Reference for the record, as stated on today's agenda, which has been published, please be informed that all relevant records and documents pertaining to this matter, this agenda item, can be accessed for review on the LUC website, https://luc.hawaii.gov/A07-773. At this time, we'll consider public testimony. For members of the public, please be reminded that the commission will not be considering the merits of this petition. Rather, the commission is interested in learning about the current state of activities relative to the docket, including compliance with conditions, and the commission will then consider whether any action is necessary. Ms. Kwan, I would like now to recognize any written testimony that's been received. Has there been?
There's been none, Mr. Chair.
Ms. Kwan, are there any members of the public who signified they wish to present oral testimony at this time?
No, Mr. Chair.
So at this time, I'd like to move to the presentations. And the first presentation, I will call on the staff. So Ms. Segura, I understand that you will provide a summary of the staff report and any recommendations that you'd like to put forth for the commissioner's consideration.
My name is Martina Sewer, for the record. I prepared the staff report and got it approved for signature on February 13th, and it was posted to the Land Use Commission website for public review on that day. This is a continuation of the October 18th and 19th, 2023 status report, where the commission ordered the petitioner to come in for a continuation of the status report. There were 7 listed concerns from that hearing. Those can be found on pages 12 and 13. Those concerns were shared with the petitioner through a letter, so they're aware of the concerns that the commission had from the last meeting. And those include everything from finances to the Kapalkai analysis, and conditions, split conditions between Waikapu development. A summary would be that the project update and letter that the petitioner provided includes a lot of summaries saying that they have to come in for a motion to amend, I believe, condition number 1, condition number 5, and yeah, those are the 2 that I have, and those relate to the phases of development and the traffic impact report and study. To proceed, staff recommends that a follow-up status report be scheduled after July 11th, 2025 if they don't come in for a motion to amend. And that date is, we chose that date, July 11th, 2025, because it correlates with condition number 1 from the 2019 decision and order, where it states the petitioner shall complete 2 initial phases of the updated ELC project within 6 years of the commission's 2019 decision and order, and that date is July 2025.
Thank you, Ms. Agra. Commissioners, do you have any questions for staff regarding the staff report and recommendations at this time? Thank you very much. Petitioner, we'll turn to you now and remind you you're both under oath. And please proceed with your presentation.
All right, I just want to give a brief introduction. This is Josh Remp for Emmanuel Lutheran School. At our last status report, I will admit that I was not prepared because I had never done anything like this before. And we took or tried to take all of the recommendations that were given to us to prepare a better presentation, to give you a better update, and so that you can see how our phases now aligned with the phases that were presented in a previous status report. Speaking on Emmanuel's behalf is Sandy Baz graciously volunteered, as he has a bit more experience with these kinds of things than I do. So I'm going to turn the microphone over to him, but he and I have communicated regularly back and forth about this, and we've gone back and forth with the Land Use Commission and even some time with the Office of State Planning. So I'm going to give the microphone to him and let him go through the presentation, if that's okay.
Yes, that'd be fine. And I understand you have a visual that you'll be referring to. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Thank you.
Mr. Bays, please proceed.
All right. So first of all, we wanted to thank the staff for their report. We had a chance to review it prior to this meeting, and so we're able to address directly some of those things that are brought up in that report, and in writing as well after this. We can provide that to you. So as you're aware, in 2008, the Emmanuel Lutheran Church and school came in for a district boundary amendment, and that was originally granted. It was amended, among other times, in 2019, basically was splitting out the projects, right? A bifurcation between us and Waikapu Development Ventures, and then also update of the projects and timeline, things like that. Well, right after that was COVID, and there was some challenges, of course, with our economy and being able to do fundraising. Also, we had a change in leadership at the school, and Mr. Remfer came on board. The issue also, the subdivision between us and Waikapu Development Ventures was delayed at the county, so that had some impact to our ability to move forward as well. Our main goal is to develop a safe, functional campus that serves our students, our church members, and the broader Maui community. Go ahead. All right, thank you. So if you look at the original document, decision and order in 2019, and the phases, the first phase was securing funding. Second phase, multi-purpose buildings. Third phase, classrooms. And then the fourth phase, we're looking at optional sanctuary. As we have had more time now and have engaged professional planning and architectural design teams, we are looking at an updated time frame and then also just updated phases to reduce confusion. We put letters on them instead of numbers. So looking at right now, as we're continuing our activities, feasibility and discovery, we're looking at things related to the financial aspect of it, the demand for school classroom, space. We have looking at other support organizations, schools within Hawaii as examples. We consulted with them as well, getting enrollment numbers and realistic operational financials, as well as the capital that we're looking at raising. We've also engaged Lutheran Church Extension Fund, which is a arm of the Lutheran Church that provides support for real estate development in the manner of financing. So very low cost financing specifically for Lutheran Church missions, which is what this is. And then also for the actual architectural kind of concept design, things like that. They've been very, very helpful over the last 6 months or so, really listening to what our needs are, looking at our environment, looking at that. And then also we're engaging local architect to do the construction drawings and things like that. So those are active activities that are happening now. We've also engaged with a fundraising consultant, Hawaii-based fundraising consultant, to help us with our capital campaign. And we've had some initial discussions and meetings, and have a golf tournament coming up. But looking at opportunities for more of those, larger 6-digit, 7-digit opportunities for donations and grants and things to support the school. So that's the financial aspect of what we're looking for, the support, and then also the engagement again with professional consultants and our building committee that has significant expertise in construction and planning and those related activities. So we have a civil engineer on our building committee as well. So really, really helpful having that volunteer engagement as well as the professional engagement. We're kind of starting that concept and design phase as well during this time period. And you have, we didn't present pictures, but we have some basic concepts of design, layout on the property. The original design and layout was based on the 25 acres, right? So once the school sold half of it to Kapu Development Ventures, then the whole project needed to be rescoped, relooked at, and things like that. So that's an important understanding of the time delays as well, to understand why we haven't quite got to that point of construction here. So once the concept and design is completed and we have done a majority of the capital campaign, then we will go ahead and start construction. Construction phase we're looking at is between 2027 and 2029. We're looking at doing most of the construction at one time, so there's less impact to the activities of the students. There's less impact to the school itself. We can, build it while the current school is still operating, and then be able to just transition into it when it's ready. The phase D, kind of the final phase, will be a sanctuary at the very end. And so that's kind of what we're looking at the revised phases right now. So we hope that there's a little better understanding of the correlation between what you have on record as decision and order, and then what also is our end phases, what we're looking at for actual activity. And we, as mentioned, we will be presenting this in a motion to amend in the future for future action. Yes, we originally deadline for the schedule, we were supposed to be completed with the first 2 phases by July 11th, 2025. That's coming up here in a few months. So that's not going to happen. We need to present a motion to amend. We talked about kind of those reasons for the delay and looking at what our commitment is to move forward with this. Go ahead. Related to the cultural impact assessment and the native species identified, the same consultant that did Waikapu Development Ventures did the CIA for our project as well. It's basically the same parcel, it's the same information, so you'll see that there's a lot of similarities between their CIA and our CIA, and they basically modified the CIA that they did for Waikapu Development Ventures for our project, understanding what our project's scope is and things like that. Because of the presence of the Uhaloa and the Opeapea, we're looking at integrating that into the curriculum of the school to honor the native species that are identified in that area and be able to help the students of the school to learn more about the flora and fauna of Hawaii as a part of an engaged curriculum there. And we will comply with the recommendations of the Pa'akai portion of that related to working with SHPD if there is any additional items identified. So, again, we're partnership with LCEF, Lutheran Church Extension Fund. They are a specialized church school financing and advisory group supporting capital campaigns as well as the actual concept and design of the project. They help the kind of big picture stuff as it gets facilitated in building a school. We have engaged a local architect, Maui architectural group, to do the design of the buildings, make sure that they're correct for our environment and for the area, make sure that the design is something that fits into the community and also is the most energy efficient and supported by the natural environment that it can be. So we have a new building committee that Mr. Emperor has grabbed together. We meet regularly, again, sharing our expertise and helping to get input and provide guidance to the actual project itself. And then the school has hired administrative staff that is also very much helpful in, facilitating all this instead of just volunteers and a very busy principal. So thank you for that time. So related to condition number 5, and this will come in an actual amendment, but we are requesting, removal of or an amendment of that condition specifically. We feel that the conditions of that area are significantly different than the conditions of when the original TIAR was done in 2000, or prior to 2008. So it was completed in 2006 or 7. And we feel that the school is very small impact to that, if any. And we would like to ask for relief of that condition or an alternative, reduction instead of an updated TIAR to get, we can hire a traffic engineer, do updated counts, things like that after we're completed with construction and opened is when the condition would be required to be implemented. So, so timeline, next steps, we will be filing a motion to amend, hopefully before, our target is before July 11th. So we're gonna have to do another status report and the amendment. We have engaged the attorney that Waikapu Development Ventures has on the project that so his expertise and his experience specifically with this we can benefit from as well. So we'll start to engage him and work on this next phase. He is going to assist us with that piece of it, realizing that we need professional legal support in your proceedings are very legal, oriented. So that support is going to be really beneficial for us. And then we'll continue to utilize support from the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. Aaron, thank you for your support along this way so far. And then also with the County of Maui Department of Planning and Public Works and anybody else that we would engage with at that level, and just work on our continued progress towards the goal of the project. Our commitments maintain, there's going to be responsible development, right? So we're going to maintain compliance with the LUC orders. We're building a sustainable, community-oriented campus. We will maintain cultural and environmental stewardship, honoring the traditions and protecting native species, and promoting a stewardship education. Financial transparency, we want to provide updated plans and status reports to confirm that we do have the financial capacity to complete this project. And again, stay engaged with you, including timely submissions of status reports. So that, I think, is the end of our presentation. And we're mahalo for listening to us, and we're available for questions. Hopefully we have answers.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions for the petitioner?
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Yamane?
I thank you. So just some questions, and you might not know this, but on your first phase that you're doing now, which is feasibility, I think it was, how much is that costing? What is the commitment to that dollar amount?
You're saying what's it costing to do the feasibility
Yeah,
study?
you obviously hired someone to help
Yeah,
you scope out.
her
and-
fee is like $22,500. We've paid the initial installment. Those meetings we've had 3 different Zoom meetings. She's going to be over in late February to follow up with some of those. She's working with us to create a capital campaign committee with members of our church and school, members of the community. So that should be end of February. We're working on gathering names for that. So did I answer your question?
Yeah, and my follow-up is, do you have any idea, or maybe this is a result of the study, is any idea on what the total estimated costs will be? And because you need that amount to secure funding and have an idea whether you're going to borrow, any idea for that?
Yes. So total cost given to us from Real Estate Solutions, as we've worked with them, is if we did everything exactly as we want it, it would be 30 million. But what we're working into our plan is a plan A, plan B, plan C based on how much we do raise through our capital campaign. So if we are able to build some permanent structures, and then some of the structures need to be modular or lower in cost, the goal is really that we want to be able to move our current campus all at once, as opposed to moving grades 1 through 2, moving 3 through 5. The goal is, how can we do this all at once? And so that big number is something we'll shoot for. But if we don't get there, how much do we raise, and then how much are we eligible to borrow? But the idea is that at the end of this, we're gonna move everything at one time.
Okay, thank you. No more questions, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners, anything else? Commissioner Carr-Smith?
Thank you. Just a couple of questions. I was wondering what the status of your subdivision is?
It's officially bifurcated as of, I'm not sure the exact date, but we've paid our title insurance. We have 2 different TMKs. Waikapu Development Ventures paid theirs, so it's done. But it's been in the last 3 weeks or a month. So, but it is officially done.
Good, good. And I was just curious, what's the size of your school? How many students?
Currently, we have 230 students. Looking to grow a little bit because we can add additional preschool spaces, but we're not looking at doing double grades. We're looking to increase the size of our preschool, but keep our K through 8 the same size.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. So I had a couple of follow-ups on those items. So the preliminary total budget, 30 million to do phases A through D on your portion of the land that you for the school. Is that correct?
The D would include the sanctuary. That 30 million, we may not build the sanctuary for quite some time, because what we're doing on campus, we're creating a couple different options for worship spaces. So church on Sunday morning could be held. So that phase D is not part of that, but that would be for administrative offices, preschool, classrooms, gymnasium. Like there's 5 different building structures that we're looking at. We didn't want to share the concept drawing yet because it's sort of going through some iterations with feedback, but we will have that before our next meeting so we can show that to you. But 5 buildings, each with a separate cost. And like I said, if we have to scale back and some of those are not permanent structures, they're modular in nature. That's
Yeah, thank you. If I could add as well, civil work is going to be a big part of that. And, we have partners in the community that have offered, a lower cost to us as a school. So we're looking at saving costs in those areas too. If the actual, construction, the estimates that we get are, general cost estimates based on current construction numbers. But yeah, we hope as a nonprofit, as a school, to reduce that. And civil, it's one of the areas that we can reduce it significantly.
So what I heard you say is that you have a preliminary goal and estimate that kind of around the $30 million range. It does not include the sanctuary, and it does include assumptions for some discounted.
No, I'm sorry, to make that clear, it does not include assumptions. It's based on current construction standards. But as we go towards developing the project, we will reduce that $30 million estimate by discounts on.
Okay. So it's $30 million with, if you don't get any discounts. If you get them, it gets a little bit less. So of the net, I don't know what the number is. Let's just say it's like in the $20 million plus range. How much of that are you seeking to raise through a capital campaign?
simple answer, as much as possible, but that's when we finish the feasibility study with Beth Lum from Creative Fundraising Solutions, she's going to give us a number. Like, this is what I think we can raise. And our church and school has money saved and invested. And then there's a piece that we can borrow, and we're going to see where those 3 things line up. But she hasn't finished her feasibility study yet to say, this is what I think we can hope for or raise. So I don't know I can't answer that fully yet, but I would hope that we can get to the $10 million mark and then use some of the funds that we have and then see where we're at. But I don't want to be I don't want to be too overly confident, but I think there's significant funds that we can take advantage of.
So we understood. So we looking forward for 5 months. You're coming back on or before July 11th, either with a motion to amend or a status report. Do you think you will be in position to more specifically address the questions on scope, dollars, capital campaign goals, et cetera, at that time?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. Commissioners, anything further? Commissioner Hayashida.
I wanted to get the county's comments on the traffic, the TIA, and what they would require from the developers for this site. And if we are to waive it, we need some evidence that this is required or not required.
So for the county, I'm going to go to the county next. So you heard Commissioner Hayashida's question, and let me ask that you try to address that specifically in your comments to us. So anything further directly to the petitioner at this time? This is not the last chance. Okay, so let's turn to the county. Ms. Didarjean.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we definitely wanted to address the what sounds like the possibility of, in this motion, to amend conditions that the TIAR issue possibly be amended. And we would, at this time, we don't have a comment. We'd like to see what the motion states and the reasons and justifications for asking for that. As you folks are aware, it's a very busy section of Wailuku. So we're going to hold comment on that until we see specifically what evidence they present to determine whether or not that would be an appropriate amendment or not. I have a couple of other comments. Do you want to hear those now?
Yes, please.
Okay. We are totally supportive of this project. My ears definitely perked up when I heard expansion of preschool, because believe it or not, one of the biggest challenges we have at the county with our younger employees is preschool and childcare in general for young children and folks who work for the county. So it's exciting to hear that that's on the table, the expansion of possible preschool services that might be available. But and we understand the challenges, the financial challenges, so we want to just state that we want to support them as much as we can. But at this time, we don't really have anything more concrete than that until that motion comes in. We are supportive of the motion in general, but we would just like to see, further what that entails. And if they would like to reach out to us prior to filing that and have some discussions about it, we're very open to that. So thank you very much. And I know that the planning director at this time doesn't have any comments, but she's happy to try to answer some questions. We also have a senior planner from our current division here at this meeting, Tara Furukawa, in case you have further questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hashida, anything follow?
No, last question, environmental assessment required for the project or not?
Thank you, Chair. Can you answer that question? Are there environmental assessments? So I guess the general consensus, if there are required hookups to county lands that would trigger that, then yes, there would be that necessity. But I don't know yet what the plan is. Perhaps they can fill us in on if they know at this point what those hookups would look like.
So that may result in an updated EIS depending what they're specifically proposing.
Pending, yes, it's exactly on what they're proposing. And then I know there have been other EIS that have been done in that area. So we would look and see what the dates on those are and whether or not it would entail or encompass that work. Thank you.
So
Commissioner Hayashida again, so the school should know, the school should have already done the studies with their civil engineer, so I'm waiting for the church to respond whether they think an EA is required or not.
do you understand the question?
Yeah,
Petitioner?
I'm not aware of a trigger at this point for a chapter 343 environmental impact statement or environmental assessment. But we'll take a look at that, and when we present to the commission again, that we can have that.
Yeah, that was basically my follow-up to Commissioner Hayashida's inquiry, is that when you come back before us before July 11, either as part of a motion or as part of a status report, that you specifically address any environmental additional studies that would be needed based on your conceptual design.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll work with the planning department, the county, to identify that as we move forward.
Okay, you good with that?
Yes, I'm good. One last question, county. So is the project within the county's general plan urban district or urban classification?
I need to swear you in, please. Please state your name
Kate Blystone.
and you are the planning,
I'm the director of the planning department
And
for Maui
you are-
County.
and you swear your testimony to be the truth.
I do.
Please proceed.
I'm just pulling up the map right now. It is outside of our urban, wait, hold on. Apologize. It is currently within the urban growth boundaries. Check me if I'm wrong. It's currently within the urban growth boundary. Sorry, my map is misbehaving at the moment. It's within the urban growth boundary, if that was your question. Regarding community plan designation, I can pull that up as well. It's currently designated public, quasi-public in the I think, or Kahului Wailuku Community Plan. That plan is slated for update right now. So, but it'll take a few years for that to happen. I imagine it'll continue. And this is an appropriate use consistent with that.
So this when the DBA came before us 18 years ago or thereabouts, it was agriculture and we redistricted it to urban. Can you comment from the county whether the neighboring area is and adjacent properties are currently agricultural or urban, have been urbanized?
Mahalo for that question. So there is a project that's immediately north of it. You may be familiar with that project. It's Kaulana Mahina. It was a affordable housing project. To the west of that project, there's a DHHL project that's being developed. And then I'm not quite sure what is to the east. It does look it's yeah, Kihei Gardens. Yeah, Kihei Gardens. So I will say that the designations, the community plan designations surrounding this area are all agriculture, but they are being urbanized because of the way our rules are.
So the direction this whole area is going is urban as opposed to what it was originally 20 some plus years ago, mostly agriculture. Is that correct?
It does appear that way, Commissioner, yes.
Commissioner Lee?
Thank you, Chair. For Director Blystone, what other discretionary permits would be needed by the petitioner to build out to its fullest? Are there any like group home type permits or any zoning requirements?
I'm checking with my planner. Off the top of my head, I cannot think of anything. Forgive me, my head is always in SMA, and so this is not in that. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Yeah, neither can my planner regarding discretionary permits that would be required. We can be prepared to answer that question next time we all get together as well to see if anything comes up, but I can't think of anything.
Thank you. Would there be any possible council approvals that would be needed as well?
I do not believe so, not for this aspect of the project. I'm certain there's none, yeah.
So that would be for the sanctuary, for any student dormitory housing as well?
Again, this is off the top of my head, and I'm still only 1 year into this job, so there's 1,000 things I don't know, but that I'm fairly certain there's not anything that I can think of. But if there is, when they come back for their update, we will be prepared to provide those answers.
Thank you. Just wanted to get a better understanding of what possible obstacles might be in the way. Thank you, Chair.
Ms. Jardine?
Thank you, Chair. So one of the reasons why we like it when you folks put these on the agenda is because it does provide an opportunity. Just tell us what you need. And we clearly at this point need to have a deeper discussion with Emmanuel Lutheran and really sort of help them along because it sounds like their efforts are moving along, but we would like to partake in figuring out all of that. What are your plans? Let's figure out what needs council approval. What do you need to put in your motion to amend? So we'd like to be more of a partner in that. So we appreciate the opportunity to learn more about the project because it hasn't been on our radar for quite some time. So thank you.
Good. This is for the petitioner. In a previous hearing, there were some unpermitted structures that were identified. What has become of that, or is that still there?
Do you mean unpermitted structures on the property?
Correct.
I mean, I'm not sure what's. As far as I know, and I drive by every once in a while, the apartment complex that went up next to our property, they were using that property for some of their construction vehicles and offices, but technically it was still their land because it hadn't been bifurcated yet. Previous, for many years, there was a lot of garbage and stuff that had accumulated with people, you know, living on lot, but that's all cleared out. I don't think there's anything there that's unpermitted now. It's just ready for whatever construction comes next.
I'd like to ask the executive officer if he knows more information about this from his last hearing.
Thank you, Commissioner Lee. Can't remember, how long ago was it that we did that? About 3 years ago? We visited the site, it was pre-pandemic. There were some structures in the wooded area that were being used. Different project.
Yeah, I believe you're getting this status report update confused with another project, a similar project on Kona. I believe that's United Nation or University of the Nations in Kona.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
where
then I
they have
stand
permitted
corrected.
structures
I
on
stand
there.
corrected. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Segura.
So I would like to emphasize the point that came out in the immediately prior discussion in response to Commissioner Lee. And that is about the value of communicating with each other and identifying potential obstacles or delays that could further slow down the project. And yes, a primary purpose of these status reports is to surface issues that we're all on the same page. And it's not uncommon that projects such as yours get delayed and they get off the radar. There's a lot going on and they get off the radar. So part of what we're trying to do is get it back on the radar. And now we have a target date of July 11th, which is 5 months down the road. And I just can't encourage you strong enough to communicate directly with the county, identify the issues, and come up with potential remedies that you can bring back before us, either as part of a motion or as part of your next status report.
Thank you. We look forward to having more open communication with the county.
Commissioners, anything further? Okay, we'll turn to the State Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. Ms. Kato.
Thank you, Chair. Allison Cato. From a planning perspective, OPSD continues to support this project as an appropriate use for the property. Petitioner mentioned that they will come in with requests for an extension of their deadlines, so I just wanted to restate those deadlines for clarity. The upcoming one is July 11, 2025 to complete the initial 2 phases of the 2019 plan, but we understand based on their presentation that no longer makes sense given the change in their phases and plans. And also their deadline to complete the project construction is March 7, 2028, 20 years from the 2008 DNO. OPSD looks forward to receiving that motion to amend that reflects the current plan and responsibilities with realistic goals and timeframes. Thank you. We're available for any questions.
Thank you. Commissioners, questions for OPSD? I think you're free to go. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming here today. Commissioners, do you have any final questions for comments for the parties before I take another round of public testimony? I just have one comment. Even though we will hear any motion you want to bring before us, including the one to provide relief on condition 5, but that doesn't mean we're going to give you relief. You got to make a really good case for that. And we will be listening to the county to speak on that issue as well. We're very concerned about potential traffic problems, and that's why the condition is there. So take it very seriously. Yeah. Okay, second round of public testimony. Ms. Kwan, is there anybody signed up who wants to testify?
Seeing none, Chair.
Okay, thank you. So it is 10:20. 10:20. I'm gonna take a 5-minute break and we'll come back and we'll deliberate on this. So I'm back in 5 minutes. We'll are now under recess. Okay, we're back on the record. It's 10:30. So I want to go back and have a little more dialogue with the petitioner on two topics. The first is the environmental assessment and 343. And there was a communication that you would confer with the county, but jurisdictionally, you need to confer with the state. This is whether there's a 343 trigger or not, and what avenue you take to find a remedy or to find compliance with 343. Whatever you do with the county, you need to do to satisfy the county's requirements. But you need to confer also and directly with the State Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, who has an environmental group that will assist you to figure out if there are triggers today, which there very well could be that weren't there before, and then what you need to do. So please do that. Is that understood?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, and then secondly, has to do with the Kapakai analysis. So the cultural impact assessment that was done, let me just say real clearly, that was done is not a Kapakai analysis, and it's not sufficient. You need to take it very seriously. We have an obligation as a commission to accept the Kapakai and make a Kapakai determination on this matter. And you need to bring that information before us so that we can understand it and make that determination. My personal expectation is you probably have to get a consultant or somebody that's qualified to do a specific Kapakai analysis and not rely on previous CIAs or not rely on previous communications with SHPD. You need to do a specific Kapakai analysis for your proposed project and bring that before us when you come back.
Thank you. Would it be possible for us to use the same consultant that did the CIA?
You can ask them and whether they're qualified or not, whether they can do it. You can confer with our staff about the adequacy of the scope of the work that they would do.
Okay, thank you.
Does that help?
Yes, definitely. We'd want to know the details of what's not compliant about it.
Yeah, you can confer with our staff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, folks? Okay, so where am I? Commissioner Miyasato.
Yeah, just a follow-up to your comments. This Honua ethnographic survey, it just has a snapshot of your project. As far as like for the Kapakai, I'd want a bigger view. I'd like to know if the mountain is 1 block away, if the ocean is half a block away. So, a better location, bigger view of where it's at. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's exactly where I was going. Okay, because we did some additional conference, I'm going to ask again a third time if anybody from the public has showed up that wants to testify.
Seeing none, Chair.
Okay, and we'll proceed to deliberations. So, commissioners, this is a status report. We are not required to take any action at this time. And if no action is taken, the requirements for continued annual status reports will remain in effect. However, if the commission feels that its concerns have not been addressed based on the comments and responses provided by the petitioner, the chair will entertain a motion that either the petitioner's status report has not sufficiently addressed the commission's concerns, and that further meetings or status updates are necessary to provide the opportunity to do so at future dates to be determined by LUC staff. And we've already identified that July 11, 2025 is a critical date. So we would expect either a detailed updated status report and or a motion to amend on or before that date. If there's reason to believe that the petitioner will not adhere to the conditions set forth in the decision order, the request request the staff move forward, they may, pardon me, let me be clear. If there is reason to believe that the petitioner will not adhere to the conditions set forth in the decision and order, the commission may request the staff to move forward with a formal order for a show cause proceedings. That's another option we have for us. So commissioners, any discussion at this time on the adequacy of the report today or any specific motions that you would like to make? Commissioner Carsmith.
Thank you. I feel pretty good about what was reported today. It seems as though there is movement. They've got their feasibility study, hired an architect. They're looking at fundraising and different financial avenues, hired counsel, playing with the plan about what could be added, what would need to be taken away. I think those are all progressive movements. Connect. That's all good. So I understand all the things that were suggested about working more closely with the county and with OPSD, and coming back and giving more information on the specific items, the 343 and the Kapat Kai. I personally would like you to bring visuals as well when you come back so that we can have a clearer idea about what we're talking about. But I'm pleased with today. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioners, any other comments? So I feel similarly that today's meeting was check the box in terms of adequacy for the information in terms of a status report. It does show progress, although you got a long way to go and a lot of details. But you heard some very specific items to be addressed and to be addressed in the next 3-4 months. And I don't see a need for a request for a show cause hearing or anything of that sort. But I will give the commissioners an opportunity one more time if they want to make such a motion. Seeing none, I think that we can bring this matter to a close for today and say that we look forward to seeing you in a few months.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. We thank you for your presentations, and that ends this agenda item. Thank you very much. The next agenda item is the adoption of our minutes from our meeting of February 5th and 6th, 2025. Ms. Kwan, has there been any written testimony submitted on the February 6 minutes?
No, Mr. Chair.
Pardon me?
No, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Has anybody in the public indicated they want to testify?
No, Mr. Chair.
Okay, commissioners, are there any corrections or comments on the minutes? And if not, is there a motion to adopt the minutes?
Chair, motion to approve the minutes.
So moved by Commissioner Lee. Do I have a second to the motion to approve the minutes of February 5 and 6?
Commissioner Hayashida, second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hayashida. Commissioner Lee has moved to adopt the minutes and it's been seconded by Commissioner Hayashida. Since this is the first motion of the day, we'll have to take a roll call vote. So, Mr. Orendaker, please take a roll call vote on adoption of the minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion is to adopt the minutes. Commissioner Lee,
Aye.
Commissioner Hayashida.
Aye.
Commissioner Yamane,
Aye.
Commissioner Miyasato.
Aye.
Commissioner Kamakeo, hello.
Aye.
Commissioner Carr Smith,
Aye.
Commissioners Kahele and Uu are excused. Commissioner Giovanni.
Aye.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The motion passes unanimously.
Thank you very much. Next agenda item is a tentative meeting schedule. Mr. Orendecker, please tell us.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Excuse me. We do not have anything scheduled for February 20th, and that day is released. March 5th, we have 10 and 6th, we have tentative meetings, but at the moment, we do not have anything scheduled. March 19th and 20th, we have on the 19th, the Toyama status report, and on the 20th, the Bencorp status report. And they will either both be in Hilo or both be in Kona. We're working on those.
And
right
Corp got postponed.
now.
Remember? They called us.
Oh, okay. Recent communications from Bencorp is that they would like to postpone that until May. And we can do that on, either May 8th or the 21st or 22nd.
So the March 19th will be for Toyoma, that will be in Hilo.
Yes,
Hilo.
that's correct.
And it will not be overnight.
No.
No.
April is currently open. And May, we have on the 7th, we have the Oahu Gentry motion. On the 8th is currently open, but as we just mentioned, we may move Bencorp to that date. I am also aware that KS Waiava is going to give a presentation in May on either the 21st or 22nd with regard to their revised plan, which they've submitted already, but they're going to give us a presentation on it. And this matter that we just heard, Emmanuel Lutheran may be scheduled in July, depending on when they get their documents to us. But given that OPSD needs an opportunity to review everything, probably August.
Commissioners, any questions on the schedule? Commissioner Lee?
For March 5th tentative, for the executive officer, what is DR 24-78? Which project is that?
That was RK2 that we heard January 8th.
So this is not necessary now, or are they coming back?
It's an internal deadline. That was the last day to hear the hearing, but we've already completed it.
Yes, that's correct. We mark down when we have deadlines that are statutory timeframes, we put those in the calendar to make sure we don't miss them.
Thank you. And then if there are any legislative updates, could you put that on the agenda if something significant happens?
Thank you, Commissioner Lee. We will do that. Right now, there isn't a whole heck of a lot significant. The Senate bills have died. We won't know much till crossover.
What's the date of crossover?
I believe it's the 18th, March 18th. Yeah.
I think we should be down to maybe only a couple of bills, possibly.
Yeah, by then, yes. Thank you.
They're dying. Yeah, okay. So Commissioner Lee, we will keep abreast of that, and if we see something of significance, I will support agendizing that for public discussion. Okay, any other questions on the schedule? Hearing none, we will move forward. I think the next item is a meal request. They put it in writing so I don't forget, which I appreciate. So staff, the LUC meeting is scheduled for March 19th in Hilo. I would like to request that meals be provided for a working lunch as an integral part of the meeting, due to the remote locale of the meeting and demanding time schedule to complete the LUC business. Mr. Orendecker, would the LUC staff make the necessary arrangements for a working lunch, please?
We will, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you. So noted. This concludes our meeting for today, unless there's any further business to discuss. Commissioners, any further business to discuss? If not, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.